we're gonna do some call-ins, and I'm gonna continue playing Elden Ring. And then if we run out of call-in, if we run out of call-ins, I'll just be pulling in. I'll just be going and editing segments. So there you go. All right, jumping into the showroom. And I believe first up is Worshipper of the Olympians. We're going to be doing around 15-minute calls. So when I pull you in, say your username and what you'd like to talk about. Here we go. Hello, Olympians. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, and how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, I'm doing well, and how are you?
Oh, we're doing some feedback.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh shit.
It's all good.
Oh, sorry about that. God.
Can we get a timer to add pressure to the experience? No.
So how are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, it's a nerve-wracking day, but all things considered, I'm doing pretty okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine.
What would you
I
like?
finished.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, what would you like to talk about?
Uh, well, I did watch. I did watch the movie about the Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that shit pisses me off.
What aspect about it specifically?
The sheer amount of incompetence due to the greed.
Yeah, that's always really frustrating in our capitalist system. Just people going beyond the pale in pursuit of profit. I just finished reading King Leopold's Ghost, which I've been insufferable talking about on stream, but largely as a result of the fact that it was a place run like a company, and you see like this ethos running throughout the entire Congo state, essentially prioritizing profit over the lives of actual human beings, and
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, the same thing with the bastard behind the 2008 market crash.
Yeah.
I hate every single one of them, and they blamed it on this one Middle Eastern dude, this one Middle Eastern banker, like who's going to take for the fall? Oh yeah, this poor Middle Eastern banker, not the head of the biggest banks on earth, not the head of. No, we can't have I don't know. The head of fuck. What was the banks that ever did that?
The
Oh
2000.
man.
Are you talking about the 2008 market
Yeah.
crash?
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically all of them. You know, like.
Hold up. Let me look. There was this like movie back in 2015 with like Steve Carell.
Oh yeah. Are you thinking of
The
the
Big
other
Short.
guys, or Get Smart?
No. They're the Big Short.
Oh yeah.
They're like Steve Carell, Christian Bale, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie made me despise them.
I mean,
Like,
good, justifiably so. They're
like
yeah.
let's just put it, liberate the Bastille type of piss off.
Yeah, I mean, again, no Fed posting, but I understand. Like, it is shocking to me how so many people, like, essentially, will get like shot or killed or tortured over like stealing like a candy bar. But if you happen to steal billions of dollars or millions of dollars, it's
Or trillions. Don't forget the fucking bastards who shove their money offshore in the fucking Caymans and the Virgin Islands. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
There was this investigation that was going over the British Virgin Islands either.
Yeah.
And one of the investigators that going I think either an Epstein or looking into the bank. I think anybody who's there who doing actual work like in the British Virgin in the United States or I don't know those two Virgin Islands uh are get shifted off to or fired like you're like mm. Sorry, God. This all this stuff wouldn't happen because I'm all
It's all good. Take your time.
in my opinion this wouldn't happen if the world was federated into
Uh,
one government.
I mean, that might very well be, but I think it's gonna be quite some time until the world unites around that kind of common goal.
God, I dream of a Earth Federation.
Um,
United Earth Federation.
the were you talking about like the Panama Papers and like the assassinations around that?
Uh, the assassin. Yeah,
Yeah, it is shocking, just like how brazen some of the attempts to cover up these financial crimes can be.
it's like, and I think they were like an who what an attorney or attorney general in the United States Virgin Islands or the British Virgin Islands that was investigating Epstein
Um,
suddenly was fired. Like I'm just like,
yeah,
what are they trying to hide? What are they trying to hide? What are they trying to hide? Come back. Continue investigation. Like,
yeah, I haven't heard about that. I feel like the Epstein case is really bizarre in that it seems to just it seems both never ending but also never quite going anywhere. Like it seems to me like they would have enough evidence. And
yeah,
granted I'm not a lawyer, all the caveats, but like it does
right.
seem like they would have enough evidence by now to put some people away, like on the allegations that they currently have, on the witnesses they currently have. So I
Like,
I can't even begin to
oh,
imagine what the holdup is.
like call me a conspiracy theorist. Like, I think they have actual billionaires on that list, and they don't want like billionaires, and potentially secret trillionaires on that list. Like, I think there are trillionaires existing among us that we do not know of.
Really? Why do you think that?
Fuck, because of the opaqueness. Not the is it opaque? Not being able to see through shit.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, the opaqueness of corporations and the ruling class of this world. Like we're talking about old money.
Yeah. And
And
that is true. There's a lot of ways to hide your wealth, and like there's a lot of
like,
there's a lot of that old money that got funneled into a lot of very disparate, seemingly diverse accounts,
mhm,
that are all like related. I understand what you mean. Like there's, um, again, I've just been reading King Leopold's Ghost, so that's kind of like where my brain goes to immediately at the
yeah,
moment. But like there was like a concerted effort to basically shift around the King of Belgium's wealth after he died, in order to cover up like the grotesqueness of the crimes that he had committed. And it's kind of shocking. Like people still don't really know how much money he actually made when he was the sole ruler of and basically owner of the Congo. How much
mm,
money he extracted from all of those lives. So it's, yeah, I hear
not
you.
like shadow trillionaires are like that just scares me. Like imagine having that much money, the money that rightfully belongs to nations that you have there.
Yeah.
Man. Like I don't think like you know how much the world is in debt.
To like
Like
other
the
nations.
the depth of Earth, the world debt,
Yeah.
$315 trillion. To who?
Well, I
To
mean,
who?
to each other. You know, it's a web of debt.
Whether that who
It's kind of like when you borrow from or when you like pay off a credit card with another credit card. You know. I like honestly on a global scale, it's kind of there's not like one person who holds all of the debts or anything, or even like a small group of people. It's mostly like, you know, countries take loans from other countries and, you know, allow other countries to buy securities, and it just winds up being like a massive, massive, almost incomprehensible shell game of money being shuffled around. And frankly, I don't think there's any economist that fully understands our current, like the current system of trade and economics. Like it's just all so,
is like esoteric.
yeah. It's almost you know it's almost enough to make you believe in like the invisible hand of the market as like some kind of entity in and of itself. But like it's really just a bunch, you know, and a bunch like billions of people with different interests and different priorities trading with each other in ways that, you know,
The fourth Abrahamic religion, the market.
exactly, exactly. The one true God.
And
Uh,
whoever I've heard of I think there's like this film there's like this oil film, There Will Be Blood.
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen a in historian going through their the going through the film, and I think the guy called Cynical Historian, he goes through like how like there are the historical references to actual historical events,
Hmm.
and how those historical events inspired the movie.
Yeah,
And and in man, Daniel Day Lewis's character, Daniel Plainview.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. At the end of the movie, he's like going after his preacher's son, I guess, and I'm not sure. Uh, Played by Paul Dano,
yeah. It's a good movie.
and yeah, a very good movie. And he said like he is the what third propagation or whatever third something religious, and yeah,
Yeah, I
I,
hear that. It is it's a weird scenario where like forces beyond our control and practically beyond our comprehension, stemming from the system of capital that we live in, really kind of governs so much of our lives, like more so than like I would even argue any religion currently operating in the United States. Like capitalism really just like has seized every facet of our lives, you know, from our dating lives to our religious lives, and frankly that was kind of built in from the beginning with like the
yeah,
Protestants.
CEOs are the cardinals and bishops, while the vicars and and priests are like economists.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have any closing thoughts you want to share?
Uh, if you're a patriot, you cannot be a capitalist. You cannot be a capitalist patriot. You can't. Only socialists can be patriots. Bye.
Okay. You have a good one.
Have a good one, you too.
All right. So, folks, just as a reminder, if you would like to call in, you can do so over on the Discord, riverboat.gg/Discord, or you can type in !Discord. We're limiting call-ins for about like the 15-minute range, and yeah, we'll be taking people in. And so far, and also I would encourage you, if you are going into the waiting room in our Discord, just post in the waiting room chat, like here or something like that, so I can tell what order you've come in on. And next up we have Punky Gal, but real quick, I'm gonna initiate this apparent boss fight. And after I see the cutscene, we'll get Punky Gal in here. Let's see here. That was a nice call. It's been a long time since we've done a call-in stream. You know, I'm a little bit rusty, but I think that went pretty well. And sorry, it said stream had ended. I hear. Oh yeah, Sosha Sin. I'm sorry. My streaming software got a little sassy, so I had to restart my streaming software. Not ideal. Not ideal. Let's see here. I want like a little bit more souls. Dang it, I missed the call-in. Lady Domina, you didn't miss the call-in. We're still accepting call-ins. Don't you worry. Beep beep beep. Actually, you know what? There's probably something down here. Oh. There is something down here. Nice. You guys are brave calling in? You guys are brave calling in. Look at this weird thing. There's a waiting room chat? There is indeed. If you click on the chat itself, right click, there will be an option to open a chat. Look at this guy. A rune arc. Oh, this one's taking me down. Okay. Found it, Emma Boomer. It's okay. The Discord keeps changing its UI a little bit all the time, so I don't blame you. Well, this place is unnerving. Aha! Is that Harry Potter? Boo! Boo the pun! And actually, the pun's really good. I appreciated it. Hey, Mr. Anderson, how you doing? I'm a mixed economist. Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily agree that you can only be like a patriot if you're a socialist, but like, oh god, I think it helps. I think it helps a lot. Huh. I wasn't expecting this to be a whole other location down here. I take comfort in the fact that all the kids who were in Harry Potter films are anti-J.K. Rowling and what she stands for. True! They're good beans. So are the people who left this message. You know what? I'm also gonna leave a message, just in case. I love beans. Beans are so good. It took me so long to like beans. I know way too much about economics for the good of my mental health. I mean, fair. I basically know the basics. I'm not gonna pretend to be like an expert economist or anything like that, but I feel like I know enough to like advocate for my ideas, and that's really all I need to be at, you know? Oh god. Damn it! I got! Who all is called in? Just worshipper of Olympians so far. But we'll be having Punky Gal come on shortly. I just need to get my souls back. Don't like this little guy. Oh my, this is like a whole other area back here. Okay, I thought there was just like gonna be an item. This place is so... The DLC is so packed with content, man. It's crazy. Hello, Alan Smith. How you doing? I know everything. I'm built different. Name any two numbers. I dare you. I'll name them Bob and Constance. God damn it. Yeah, frankly, John Bainbridge, in cases where like GE owes like $3 billion in taxes and then winds up with incentives that give them $2 billion, I think the argument there should be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll give you $2 billion if you allow yourself to be nationalized. You know, like, nah, let's stop pussyfooting around with this shit. That scared the shit out of me. It just seems like the U.S. needs to play a little bit more hardball with companies. Too many people just blindly believe the propaganda of companies. I don't get it. Like they have the incentive to lie. Why would you not think that they're lying? Like what would inspire your faith in them? I don't get it. All right. Gonna come running my way? No? Oh god, no! No! Oh, that actually wasn't so bad. Well, that wasn't so bad. Things are so gross. All right. Yeah, like it's very similar to my idea. Like if any company needs a government bailout because it's too big to fail or whatever, we just need to like set a limit and be like, hey, if you want this, we will give you this bailout, but we will also make it contingent on you becoming like democratically. Oh God, what the hell is this? But we're also gonna make it contingent on like you becoming a democratic worker co-op. Okay, got an Iris of Grace. That's probably pretty important. You know, I don't want the company to be nationalized. I would much prefer it to become a democratic co-op for a variety of reasons. But like certain industries, I think that sell or provide essential goods or services, like there's a very strong argument there that they should, in fact, be like nationalized. You know. But yeah, like if something is too big to fail, then like maybe it's bad and we shouldn't have it. Just a thought. This looks like a spot. Aha! It is a spot. Where the hell am I? They made it to the West Rampart. Don't really know what this means. If a too big to fail company fails, people need to go to jail. That's probably true. Hey. Oh, this is a new area. All right, interesting. I don't need to go here yet. Have I played Hi-Fi Rush? I have not yet, but I really would like to. Okay, time for me to level up and trigger a fight. Yeah, I think there's a big difference between the state owning something and the workers that work there owning something, you know? Ooh! I'm only 4 attack points away from 1,000. Let's go. All right, I'm triggering this cutscene, probably dying to this boss, and then we'll get Punky Gal in here. Commander Gaius, the Pig Warrior. Oh God. Oh, God. Damn. All right. Okay. You know, I feel like I did pretty okay there. Frankly, I feel like I did pretty okay for a first fight. All right. Let's throw Punky Gal, and after Punky Gal, it'll be Lady Raincloud, I believe. Let's go, pulling in Punky Gal. Hello, hello.
Hello. Greetings from a heat wave in Montana thanks to climate change. Yeah, but we are having a climate change related heat wave, and Blue Mega is fucking nuts. They
True.
are very delusional people. I have seen them on Twitter just like vehemently denying polls. They are going to ride or die for Biden, which is fine, but they will do it even if he was like a potato. And we could actually have somebody else run it instead of a potato. And there are tons of people. Joy Behar is actually really mad now at George Clooney because George Clooney, pulled out all that damn money.
Yeah.
And so now all the neolibs are like attacking him and like saying, "Oh, he's just a rich guy now." It's like they're getting it a little bit, but for the wrong reasons. And then you have people like Charlotte Claimer, who almost is making like a Biden fan fiction with herself in a romance novel.
What do you
And
mean by what do you mean by that?
okay. Well, this is from somebody else, and I just saw this on Blue Sky, but someone had this from Charlotte Claimer. While I was doing this, Mr. Biden had casually taken my hand and held it in on his own between
What?
our chests. It was like the most natural thing in the world. He stared at intently with kind eyes. I might as well have been the only person in the room.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's weird.
that is Charlotte Claimer saying that she and Biden had a moment and it was only them in the room and it sounded like a romance novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these people are freaking nuts, and there are blue anons out there who think the debate was rigged. Something happened to his mic, or that CNN rigged the cameras. I watch C-SPAN every morning with Marcus on LFE, and sometimes call in, and you get some of these middle America people who are independents and low information voters, and they're not seeing anything Biden's saying. They're only looking at his Candace. Same thing with Trump. And so and then you get the blue mega people coming in, and these people are mostly elderly people. So it's basically the people who are claiming that we're all being ageist, and it's all the people who are like getting mad that you took away grandpa's keys. And
No. That is exactly the dynamic that is taking place here. It's like, honestly, it has the vibe of like a family where like the mom is like, oh, grandpa can't drive anymore. We need to take away his keys. But like her sister thinks that like, every you're being hysterical, like you're being really unreasonable by taking away grandpa's keys. Like it does have that vibe.
Like, let me ask you all, would you let Joe Biden light a propane grill by himself without any supervision? Would you let him be the driver of your Uber? These are things that middle America is looking at, and they're going, we don't want this. Low information voters are looking at this, and they're freaking out.
Yeah.
They don't want it, and especially when it comes to like ads. A lot of low information people, they don't watch the debates. They watch, the news and whatever happens on Sinclair, which is a lot of news stations are now owned by Sinclair. So they watch the local Sinclair station and they get their little tidbit, and their little tidbit shows Biden acting frail, acting weak, acting not lucid, and they see that and they freak out. Or the ads play 24/7 by opponents, and they see those ads and they don't bother to fact check them because they're lazy. They hate politics. They hate politics inherently. My parents are really not nice people, and they hate politics. But they will see an ad and say, and go, I wonder if that's true. And who cares? They won't do any fact checking. And a lot of these people who don't do fact checking, even if they're young or old, it's because they worked, a long hour of the day. They just want to go home and watch TV, and they don't want to flip the channel when a political commercial comes on, or they won't want to go play video games. They're just sitting there in their chair, relaxing with a beer in their hand after a long day's work, and they see the ads and they get programmed by these things. And so it's kind of hard to do the deprogramming, which is why a call to action I have is get to know your neighbors and talk to them.
Yeah.
Be a part of your community, because that's where we need to go. Outside of elections, outside of working with things, is community work that are non-political stuff that you have in your local community. Like, I am part of a couple of LGBT groups. I have my own that I made, and then I'm part of this 10 group, and we have all these things. I'm also part of every Friday I go to this thing called the Garden City Gamers, which is just a local gaming group where you go play board games every
Oh,
Friday
that's
night at the
so
local
great.
cafe.
Yeah.
And then they also have things like the cleanup crew, which is part of that, where on Saturdays, during the summer, you can go with the crew and you go clean up trash on the side of your street somewhere and go pick up trash together. And
Yeah.
so we have a lot of these different organizations. And, I come from a leftist bastion city, so we are really left. Like, we have these things called hillside letters in Missoula. And on one of the hillside letters, it has an M. And during one of the biggest games of the year, it was the Cat Grizz game. And that is huge in Montana. It's two rival colleges in the state, and they get together. Well, just before the game started, a couple protesters and people went up there with the Palestine flag and stuck it up on the M and made the M in the colors of the Palestine flag. They eventually got told to take it down by the U of M staff, but that was showing there like about an hour before the game started. So people who were in the streets had to see that, because the stadium's not too far from that visage. And you can see that M all through town. We have tons of people coming out for anti-Palestine protests, or
Yeah.
pro-Palestine, anti-Israel protests. And so our city's really left. During the parade, LGBT parade that we had, we had our tenants union. That's another thing we have. We have a tenants union in my city.
Really?
I've been to a couple of those meetings, and it's so good. They actually were in the parade saying housing is a human right, and talking about the LGBT Americans, but they said housing is a human right, and we're talking about, because we have a huge homeless crisis in Missoula, and they were there. We had a pro-Palestine group walking in the parade during that time. We had the DSA was walking in there, the Democrats were walking in there. Zoe Zephyr was walking in the parade with her fiance Aaron for a little
Aw.
bit, because they're there, and so I know them kind of. We're like mutual acquaintances. I haven't gotten enough to be like friends with
Yeah.
them, in that sense, but we know each other. We've seen each other a bunch, and who knows what will happen if I keep going to things and everything. But Missoula is a really lefty LGBT state. Our city size is about 1,000 people, and in that 1,000 we have about 28% LGBT population.
Whoa.
So we're taking people from North Dakota, South Dakota. We're taking people from Wyoming, Idaho, and some people from the bigoted parts of Washington, and they're coming here, and it's an amalgamation. And because of Missoula's becoming a really hipstery place and weird place, we have the problem of, gentrification happening. So normal people can't afford to live
Yeah.
here, and we are just having about people are shipping in the homeless from in the state to ours, because we're the liberal city. So ship them in here to do all that crap, because they think we have better stuff here. But we only have 2 shelters, and one is only usually the winter shelter, and it gets full up, and no one wants to build more housing. I was talking to this Uber driver once, and we were like, we need more low-income housing, and she was like, sure, that'd be great. But the only people who move into low-income housing, as a person he was talking to, me, lives in low-income housing, he says, the only people who move into low-income housing are crackheads.
Jesus. The propaganda is strong.
In Montana it used to be really purple, and it still is. And the reason why it's kind of fallen out of Democratic control, John Tester has a big foothold in here, so he's really worried about Biden. He's actually said Biden should drop out. John Tester is a good guy. He's not the best, but he's like a Sherrod Brown type person. So
Yeah.
he works with Bernie and is there, but he's still a neolib, but he's more towards Sherrod Brown and Bernie end of the neolib spectrum. But he's really good for what he does, and Montana likes him. We had a governor before this that was a Democrat before we got in, Giaforte, or Giafuckface as some of us call him. And he's the guy who believes that Noah's Ark is real.
Yep.
And he body slammed a reporter, if you all forgot that. He body slammed a reporter.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, well, he has a whole bunch of private land. John Tester's opponent has some private land too that he's not letting anyone step on, except for billionaires that he lets come over there and fish and game on his stuff. We also have a problem where celebrities are coming in and taking over Montana. So we have people like Harrison Ford, who has a farm, we have a lot of celebrities living up here. And some of these people get to be snowbirds. So they have these big houses.
What does that mean?
And snowbirds are people that fly down south when it gets
I
cold
see.
and
Yeah.
snowy. So they'll move to Arizona or go back to Hollywood or go wherever, but be here for the summer. So these empty houses are sitting there collecting dust and dirt and rot during the wintertime, which is a long time in Montana. And then we have all these homeless people who could be using that house while these people are gone. We also have a lot of Airbnbs in our city because our city is so touristy. The Airbnbs own about half the market, along with, I think,
Damn. Okay.
BlackRock. Yeah, we have, and then we have those corporations. I don't even know who owns my low-income building anymore because it's owned by a property management company called Montefic. And then I don't know who it used to be this group called Sentinel, but they put it out, and now I'm pretty sure hedge funders own my low-income building. Because I've
Yeah.
never met my actual owner. I know my property manager, and every time I want to get something done, I have to go to the property manager, and they have to go approve it in the upward. Like it's
Really?
like a business. They can't just do something. They have to talk to their manager. So even the person who's managing my apartment has to go make a thing. If I wanted like air conditioning, or if I'm doing electric right now, which is really a big cost. And because I live in low income housing, it's tied to my finances. So the more money I make in disability, if I get a payment up or anything, my rent goes up.
Yeah.
It doesn't get to stay the same. So it's a catch-22. I'm glad I live in low income housing, but it does this. But they won't cover my electro because in Montana that's considered cosmetic. Now, there's been talks that something might happen with that. But because it's a medical expense and not covered, I should legally be getting that covered on my low income housing because they cover if you're doing things that cost you low income housing, you get that taken off your rent, right? Well, no, they don't believe that they're trying to fight it. They still don't think that's valid, and they're still going to keep my rent the way it is. And they're not trying. And she's like, "Well, I'll have to bring it up to the higher ups and go up to the corporate, because now I have corporate landlords." And so, Montana is a really unique place, and it is purple. And I remember that my uncle, he got his cast signed by Obama in 2008 when Obama was over here. We were at a bowling tournament in a place called Anaconda,
Yeah.
and
That's really cool.
yeah, and I actually had like a photo of him on my little old 2008 flip phone, so it was very grainy, very not cool. But he got a lot. But Obama did a 50 straight strategy. That's how he got a lot of people in there. Our state went for Bernie more than did Hillary, especially in my city, because, like I said, my city's really leftist.
Yeah.
Biden and current Dems don't even think to come here. And more Democrats need to learn. They need to hit every state, including the red states.
Yep.
And more people need to learn to run. There are places and counties in my state
Yeah.
that have no.
There are
that have no-
winnable counties in red states that like
Well,
we
not
could
only
be
that-
flipping. We could be flipping
yeah.
states.
My city is blue, so we're good. But there's places that Dems aren't even running. They have no opponent. All the Republican has to do is sign up, and they're in. Because there's no Democratic opponent. There's no Democrat. There's no third party. There's no challenge to
Yep.
the Republicans. And so we don't have that. Luckily, we have a lot of people running it locally, and we have a lot of local people. And we have, like I said, the tenants union, which is really good. I've went to a couple meetings. I haven't actually become a member because it is pretty it is kind of, a thing where you got to pay in, and I got to work through that. But it is a thing that we have. And then we meet at the local library every like Wednesday or once a month. And it's great. Our library has like a free 3D printer and printers. They have free stuff to record things with. So you can actually
Yeah.
like do video recording and stuff with
that's
all
so
that.
cool.
We have a local MCAT station, which is like local television access where you can make things. We have the center, which is our local LGBT center. They just recently moved into a new building, and that is really big. They were the one who helped put on the Pride this year, as they do pretty much every year. And we have so much good things. We have, and this might not be saying much because a cab, but we do have a dedicated liaison for LGBT people that will report things as hate crimes to the FBI
That's great.
if things are taken. So like earlier in June, some guys took a couple of pride flags off this marketplace called the Import Market, stuck it down their pants, threw it in the trash, and then pissed on it.
Oh my god.
And it was caught on a camera. Luckily, they showed their face, and so they reported it to police. So hopefully that guy will get it, and they can get reported to, the FBI or whatever. But we're really high in LGBT equality. Our city council has an anti-discrimination policies in it. So all our insurances here that you get when you work in Missoula, they
Yeah.
have to cover gender affirming surgery and gender affirming care in their policy.
That's so
So
cool.
so if you are like saying working at Target or Walmart, their policies here, their insurance has to cover that. They cannot work here. Our city also has designated districts. We have the big box district. So there's a street called Reserve, and that's where you have all the big box stores from Best Buy to Walmart. Then you have another street called Brooks, and it has the mall and some other big box stores. But downtown has no big box stores. It's all local.
Yeah.
And so that's really, and like we have a river that goes right through the center of town, and they have an artificial wave made there called Brennan's Wave, where people can go surfing
That's so cool.
if they want to.
And like this is all like what people can accomplish by getting involved in local politics. Like this is exactly like these kinds of things in your local community are all like what we could do if we actually got out there and started like organizing en masse. Like it's like this is
So true.
This is what my dream would be, to have like a community the size of Hassan's, right? Where like most of the people are out there doing stuff like this in their communities, because I think that has the capacity to really change the world for the better, you know? Like
Exactly. We have local community gardens here too. I think we have about 2 of them that I know of. One's near the cemetery, the other one's near my place. We have tons of hiking and fishing access around. We have a bedroom community called Lolo, and that's where the suburb is. That's where you start getting more mega E. And then as you go down the valley, you go to a place called Hamilton, and that's really mega E. And that's where like those I can't remember the terms, like xeno communities or something like that. There's this new term that is like it's then incorporated of the city, but that's where they go. That's where all the megas are. And if you go further up to the northeast or northwest towards Whitefish, that's where the actual white supremacist community lives, since it's Whitefish. That's where like Richard Spencer was, and Richard Spencer was a big whiny little piss baby
wait,
once.
did Richard Spencer came out of Montana?
He lives there. He winters
Really?
here
Okay.
sometimes, but he got kicked out of the ski hill in Whitefish because he's being a whiny little piss baby and got kicked off the chairlift. And I don't know how long his ban was, but he got banned from the ski hill there.
That's
But
pretty great. Not gonna lie.
And the Montana, yeah, it is. I learned that actually when I used to be a big Rachel Maddow head, before I reached the age of enlightenment. But then there was, we have Knoxon too. And Knoxon is this really, really small community, really creepy, because that's where the head of the MLM is. The Montana Militia.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
That's where the head.
Any town where there's a head of a militia, they're the crazy ones, you know?
Yeah. That's the head. Now most of them have moved to Kalispell, which has become the bastion right-wing place. That's the biggest city in the northwest of the state. And so they've moved all around Kalispell and Whitefish. But Knoxon is where the head of that was, where they did Ruby Ridge and everything. That's where they got all that, and all that jazz happened. But
yeah. Sorry,
Montana
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at your comment. I'm laughing at people in chat freaking out about you not talking about Tupperware. Sorry.
No, Montana it's so great, so lefty behind the scenes, and people discount it as being some kind of hick place. It's not hick. There are tons of lefties. You just got to know where to look. And there are lefties in every community. If you don't think there's a lefty in your town, think again. There's probably a lefty in your town that's probably just waiting for some company. You might not agree, on the little things, but on the basis of anti-capitalism and anti-fascism, there are people there. Mm-hmm. I actually worked with PFLAG back in my old hometown, where it was only like about a town size of about 10,000 people. And the town size was so small that we had a lane named after my last name. You could trace my family's history back to Bannock, which is a ghost town. I have a dead baby relative up there who died of scarlet fever in the late or early 1900s. So you could
don't dox yourself.
No. But I'm not gonna dox myself. You can't really find it because it's not the same name. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, the names have gone long way. That name has changed since Bannock and everything. So
all right.
I won't. No, you're good. But But no, it's been Montana is just such a unique place, and our Republicans, although big Trump supporters, are not necessarily your average Republican, as they're more libertarian in their ways.
Yeah.
They live and let live. They hate the. You'll get some of those more people in more like Hamilton, which is towards south of Missoula,
Hmm.
or up north towards Polson, towards the Whitefish area. But in my city, it's very blue, very good, not a lot of hate. You know, it's very sweet, and they have all kinds of LGBT events. We have a local historic theater that was made in 1930, and that's where I go see most of my films, because we do have AMC's, but it's cheaper to go there because it's
Yeah.
like a price of a ticket is like $10, and then
Oh,
$9 for like a
chat
popcorn.
chat wants you to clarify whether it's I feel like I know the answer to this. The militia you were talking about, is it left wing or right wing?
Right wing.
Yeah, I figured.
It's the Mon. It's MOM. It's the Militia of Montana.
Okay. Wait, the acronym is MOM?
Yeah, Militia of Montana.
That is an interesting acronym to go with. Okay.
Yeah, but but the theater is called the Roxy Theater. Their logo is the old man in the moon, where
Mhm.
the rocket gets shot in the man's face or
Yeah.
moon's eye. Yeah, and it's a local, like I said, theater, historic. Food costs like for a popcorn and pop, it's like $9 together, and then like $10 for a ticket. And so I've been seeing so many movies there because it's cheaper than the AMC. So I saw Furiosa there. I saw Love
Nice.
Lies Bleeding there, which was really good. I saw Drive Away Dykes, or as the title's called, Drive Away Dolls, but the working title was Drive Away Dykes, which is really good. It's a really good, cute lesbian comedy film.
Aw.
Which, if you haven't seen it, we should watch it sometime in the Discord, because you'd all get a kick out of it. It's pretty cute. And then I saw the TV Glow, which I know you're scared to see it, but it wrecked me in a good way. It made me cry through like about 80% of the movie, or almost all of the movie. And after I came out of it, I felt so emotionally clean.
Interesting.
Like
Like
I would,
okay.
I felt purified, because it was just, I related to it so much, and it just made me so glad that I didn't do what the main character did. I beat them,
Yeah.
because I actually, because it's about repression. The movie is,
Yeah.
and that's all I'll go into, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. But it's kind of a repression, and I didn't repress. I waited a while because of things out of my control, like living in rural Montana and I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
But I got my hormones eventually, and I'm glad I did. I didn't repress, and just after that, I just was like feeling so relieved. I just felt I want to be a girl, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am a girl, and it just gave me so much euphoria and this just feeling of clarity I could not explain.
Well, good.
And,
I'm really
and
glad.
yeah, so I recommend you see I Saw the TV Go. It might be hard for some people, but it is a good film, and it is spoopy. It is like Twin Peaksy kind of stuff. It's
Is it
very
Twin
good.
Peaksy? I was kind of wondering like what the vibe of the movie was.
It's
So
like Twin Peaks. It's kind of surreal.
okay.
It's kind of based like on Are You Afraid of the Dark and 90s Nickelodeon and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds
And
fun.
it's about relating to TV, because you have nothing in your small town. So you
Yeah.
relate to TV, and you pick up on these characters, and then feeling something's wrong, but you don't know why.
Yeah.
And it's also about neurodivergency, because the main character is autistic, or that's the read. Basically, it's
Yeah.
this open-ended thing that you make what you want of the film. There's consensus around it, but a lot of cis people didn't know what the film was about, and they ended up hating it.
Yeah.
Well, the trans people were crying in the film. I was crying in the film, and I saw people going out of the film not even understanding what it was about, and kind of upset they didn't know or didn't understand, because it just speaks in metaphors and, so many layers. But because it's so many layers, it's what you make of it, because
Mhm.
no one's going to have the same idea. No matter how many times you watch it, you might pick on something new. There are so many things in there that you have to keep watching it. And it's one of those films that I can just keep watching. I've watched it 3 times now since it's been out.
That's
Once in
wonderful.
the theater, and then about 2 times at home.
Well, that is
But
a
yeah,
ringing endorsement. Do you have any final thoughts? I'll give you the last word.
yeah, okay. Another call to action is learn your state's history. Just learn your state's history, because that's how you're going to relate to people around here, around where you live a little bit more. Knowing that it's gonna work wonders on your community, because if you know those kind of little cool things, it helps. It helps get to know the area. It helps get to know your state and the past. So when people say, "Oh, blah 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 was like this," and we never had these around here, you can pull up some interesting facts and rebut if the state was like that. Like Missoula had a BDSM club, and it was the safe place for the LGBT people, specifically the trans people in the 80s. A guy made it, and he made it specifically to keep LGBT people safe. And that was the refuge. Now, that was a time where you could literally be shot and killed, and it wasn't good in the 80s, especially for BDSM, those two things. But that club was safe. And so we have that kind of stuff here too. We have, so and we have lots of weeds. We have the most weed stores per capita. we were at number 1 with that. That's a new record.
So book your trip to Montana today, folks.
Yeah, Missoula specifically is the place.
Yeah.
We also have a pizza place. I'll finish here. We have a pizza place called Big Pizza, and the owner of that got on Guy's Grocery Games with Guy Fieri.
What?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So he was on. Yeah, but they make wood-fired pizzas in a brick oven, and they make the best calzones.
Really?
But
okay.
And they have all these kinds of like mountain weird pizzas. Well, not weird pizzas, but really artisanal pizzas. Like there's a thing called the Vesuvius, and it has like sprig leaves and all these other fancy stuff on there. And you could just get a regular pepperoni too. And then they have sandwiches. But yeah, there's plenty of good stuff here in Montana, and especially in Missoula. We're LGBT friendly, and we have this really cool Buddhist temple 20 or 30 minutes away from the city in this town called Ronan, and it's where these Buddhist monks came and set up shop. And so you have all these little Buddhist statues out there. And so yeah, there's just a lot in Montana to do, and Missoula is really friendly and really liberal. You don't want to go to Bozeman though. That's where the rich celebrities go, like the Kardashians and people go to Big Sky and ski. That's where it's getting really bad because it's really richy over there, and they're the more corporate style yuppie Democrats that live over there, not the cool lefty hippie punky gothy like I am, a goth punk. We live here in Missoula. The weird ones live in Missoula. The corporate business class lives in Bozeman. So
okay. Well,
yeah, I will let you go and let someone else get in.
Thank you so much for all of the amazing recommendations. If I ever go to Montana, I'm gonna hit up all those places.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You have a good day. Isn't Punky Gal delightful, folks? Banana Brains, that was Punky Gal. And Lady Domina, the movie was I Saw the TV Glow. Yeah, she's nice. Great convo. We got a whole bunch of those. Also, I beat that boar guy. I'm gonna talk to this guy, and I think there might be another boss fight up ahead as well. So.
Righteous tarnished. It's been some time.
It's been like 5 minutes, man.
Burdening my soul to you, I had hoped to make a fresh start, but there was one thought I could not dislodge from my mind. So, here I am, quite unable to move on. After Lord Moke's slain at his dynastic palace, it appears his body has been absconded with and taken straight to kind Mikola.
What?
Surely you recall that I once served Lord Moog as a pureblood knight after failing him in every regard and losing sight of my vows. I'd do anything to make amends in whatever meager way I can.
Is this message that's on the screen right now? There we go. Jesus. So let me get this straight. Lord Moog stole Mikola's body to be his consort, or yeah, to become Mikola's consort, I guess. And then Mikola stole Moog's body? This is the ultimate reverse Uno.
What could they possibly have in mind for Lord Moog's remains? The implications are rather unnerving.
Yeah, people stealing other people's bodies is really unnerving and weird.
What could they possibly have in mind for Lord Moog's remains? The
Yeah. Gets weirder too. I bet it's gonna get weird. I bet I haven't even begun to weird. Ay, ay, ay. The story for this expansion is wild. I can't wait to watch all of the lore videos associated with this for hours on end. Talk about identity theft. Back in my day, identities were stolen on the internet. Right there. Also, chat, we have now been streaming for about an hour and a half. If you've been enjoying the stream so far, hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the YouTube stream, and please consider dropping those sweet, sweet subs and donos. They are, after all, what allow me to continue to live my life and do the thing I do, which is make you all delicious, delicious content in the content mines. All right. It's all legal until you get caught. I mean, it depends on your state these days. All right, next we're pulling in Lady Raincloud, I believe, is next up on the docket. Gonna pull her in here. Oop. Hello!
Hey, Jack.
How you doing?
I'm okay. Tired, worn out, been up since midnight.
Oh god, why have you been up since midnight? That's a long time.
Stuff going on. Yeah, hi everybody, it's Rain. Yeah, I just had a lot of stuff going on. Had a lot of lost another friendship today, so that was fun.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I actually don't know if 15 minutes is gonna quite cover it, but I'll do the best I can. As you know, I am working with Rose Lansbury for Ohio State House Representative,
Yeah.
District 36.
And you know what? I just wanted to say, like, good on you for actually going out there and, like, doing the work. You know, like, I know it's fucking hard. And
hot.
And hot. Yeah, no. Yeah, the weather has not been ideal lately.
Yeah. It's been interesting because I've Rose has given me sort of like an official title now for the campaign. As like a community liaison.
Nice.
Most of the stuff I've been with her. I was out with her at Pride events, and I guess I wanted to just sort of like talk about a few things as quickly as I can in regards to the whole situation with Biden. Because
go for it. I would love some insight.
Yeah, what I'm seeing on the ground is a little bit different, and like I'm a huge believer in like fuck the polls. Like they like, you know, they poll 2,000 people and expect you to think that that's what's going to happen in the whole country, you know. But so the first thing I've been seeing too is this normal, I guess we call them normies, like normie person here will be like, I voted for Biden in the primary. If you switch the candidate on me, you're disenfranchising me. You're stealing my vote away. I've seen that not just like talking to people at campaign events, like at Pride and at Juneteenth and at lots of local events and stuff here. I've also seen that online, like in YouTube comment sections and Facebook and stuff, people being like, you know, this is who I voted for in the primary.
Yeah.
If you're forcing him to step out, you are disenfranchising me. What do you think about that sort of like mentality? Because I'm seeing a lot of that, hearing a lot of that from people, like at least here in state races and stuff like that.
I guess where I'm at with that is like there needs to be a recognition that like if he pulls out, it's because of his health. You know, like
Right.
I think that I think that for example, if Biden had I don't know, like a deadly case of scurvy, you know, and we were just catching it, you know, too late to do anything about it. I'm just, you know, not, it doesn't have to be scurvy, like just any, you know, insert illness, you know, cancer, whatever.
Right.
And he needed to step out. Like, would the argument still be the same? You know, like, would they still be getting like disenfranchised? And I don't think that's the case. I think right now what people are feeling like is that people are feeling like Biden is being pushed out by the establishment, and to a degree they're correct. But it's also, it's not just the establishment. It's the polling. You know, like it is the political reality that is scaring all of Washington right now.
Yeah, I
And
get that.
I know some people are going to be alienated, but it's kind of like it's like the reverse Bernie or bust kind of thing going on right now. Like, I think that when push comes to shove, they will turn out for someone like Kamala Harris. I think they'll turn out for someone like, you know, Gavin Newsom or whatever. They aren't going to be happy about it, but I think, like, politics isn't necessarily about making everybody happy. It's about wielding power, and, like, I think, while it is a big issue, like, we're kind of, like, we're between a rock and a hard place. We have no good options that are going to make everyone happy. All we can really do is look at, like, what can we do that gives us a realistic chance of winning?
Yeah,
And-
that's
yeah.
my problem. Is I don't think that there is one. I think we're kind of in a Kobayashi Maru, and I think maybe that's because of being at these events with Rose, especially when we were doing the Pride events. The getting people to talk to Rose at Pride events was very difficult without me there, which is one of the reasons why, because the amount of people that would walk by like the booth at all of the Pride events or the Juneteenth, like the stuff that we were doing, and we would be like, "Are you a registered voter?" And they'd be like, "I don't vote," and I'm, you know, trans, gay, lesbian, whatever, I don't vote. Okay, well, you know, why not? Why aren't you voting? And they would go into, you know, myriad of reasons and stuff like that. And I think, like, we're faced with a couple different things where we are online and we are seeing this stuff, and the average person doesn't care. Like, the presidential debate was the least watched presidential debate in terms of actual viewership in the last, like, 20, 30 years.
Thank God.
Right? Like, 15 million people watched that debate. And, you know, considering how many people turned out to vote during the last election, that's nothing in comparison. So, like, it was really, I think that's why Rose gave me the position that she gave me, is because I could talk to the queer community at Pride events and be like, well, look, sure, you know, which old white dude is in charge, who whatever, we're going to lose regardless, but you need to be voting here stateside, because what's happening to us here in Ohio, for example, is coming out of Columbus, not out of Washington. And so you need to be fighting here for, like, against the state Supreme Court doing, you know, what the federal Supreme Court's doing, and things like that. And it was really hard to get people to want to care any. Lots of LGBT people at the Pride events just were, now the older LGBT crowd, like, you know, the older people talking like 40, 50 upwards would talk, and I'm voters, I'm voting, I'm registered. Younger crowd would just walk by and ignore you, or they would say, no, I'm not voting, there's no point, or no, don't talk to me, I don't want to vote for you.
Were you ever able to engage many of them into, like, why like such a, not violent, but like such a hardline stance on voting?
Couple times, yeah, a lot of it is helplessness and hopelessness, really. It's a lot of what's it matter?
Yeah.
You know, like I voted for Biden and where is my student debt relief? I voted for Biden and they're still throwing trans people into the bus. I voted for Biden and we haven't seen gun reform. I voted for Biden and it would just be like, or, you know, people who are just completely of the mentality that's like, oh, electoralism is dumb. It doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change. Everything's gone to hell.
Yeah.
Ran into a couple accelerationist types that were just like, nah, burn it all down and start over. And it's like having to talk to those people is interesting because it's like, well, you realize that as like a marginalized individual, when we do burn it down and start all over, if that is
We're
what
gonna
happens,
be screwed.
you're screwed, right? Like we're screwed. So you're not going to see what happens after the fact of that accelerationist nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting. I had a couple people that I talked to, especially this, you know, after the debate that were like, you know, oh, it's nice to see that the left really just doesn't ever mean what it says, and all of a sudden, you know, old man no talk so good. We throw out our stances on ageism and ableism. I can never say that word correctly.
Albinism.
Albinism, yeah.
Yeah.
And in which I think actually has some small standing to it. That's like, oh, it was one fucking bad debate,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden all of our haughty-toddy talk about ageism bad, ableism bad. Oh well, we don't care about that anymore. We just want him gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, part of me is like, actually, that has some merit to it. I do kind of be looking at people like, okay, well, you kind of threw your principles out the door as soon as it looked hard. So like, where's that going? But I think the other thing too is that the Biden campaign needs to realize that what he's doing is hurting Dems down ballot.
Yeah, like that's I think honestly, like that more than anything else is what's getting people like it's what's motivating like these very middle of the road Congress people to basically put their entire careers on the line in order to like call it out, because like they know if Biden stays in, like they're kind of in a awful position now that they've come out against Biden. Like I also get the feeling that like Biden is kind of spiteful and like will probably seek some kind of retribution against people who spoke out. Like it's not going to be like Trump levels, like he's not going to be like gloating about it in the press or anything, but like it'll be like quiet retaliation, denial of resources, etc. Like
well, I know like it's obviously now I'm just trying to, you know, maybe it's because I'm working with Rose, but I'm trying to get people to care about the state level, and you know, like your county stuff, and it's been enlightening because like the last event that I went to, I met, you know, like the county clerk of courts and like county auditor, and I met some judges and I met some state senators and stuff like that, being with Rose and doing the networking and stuff like that, and people that are also running for state senate instead of just state house, and people that are running at the local city and county levels and things like that. And it's a sort of bad situation because this is causing disenfranchisement all the way down ballot. Like, to give you the example, the seat that Rose is running against, my specific district, House District 36 here in Ohio, has never been held by a Democrat ever.
Really?
Yes, ever.
But
period.
she thinks it's winnable?
Well, the last Dem to go against Andrea White is her name, and she's a real POS, the GOP person that has it right now. The last Democrat that went against her lost by 436 votes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So it was
she's vulnerable.
She's vulnerable, very. You know, because the voter turnout was a lot more than we expected it to be here. And so like the city that I live in is a battleground. It's like she has to win this city to win the seat in the House.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't, that's it. That's the end of it. So like, yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of it too is people that are of the mentality I am, where it's like, okay, well, the Democrats are useless and the Republicans are evil. I'm screwed regardless.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do we do any of this now? Because I've got a lot of people that are not going to vote for Kamala,
Yeah.
especially like again in the pride in the queer community here in my section of Ohio. A lot of ACAB, they're not voting for Kamala. Doesn't matter she's running on pro-abortion. They're not voting for her because she's a cop, right?
Yeah.
You know, quote unquote. Doesn't matter if she never had a badge. She's a cop. She's a prosecutor. That's how she's perceived here by the the people who aren't online like we are. And a lot of ACAB type people are like, I'm not voting for her. I'm not doing it. And a lot of even local friends and stuff that are just telling me and it's really uncomfortable if somebody's working on a campaign that they're not voting at all on anything. They're just not showing up. And it's like you realize what you're doing. And I feel like we do this obviously every 4 years, but it's
Yeah.
like you realize that not voting at all is handing a win to the people that are going to hurt you.
Yep. It's abandoning a tool to power, and like we need that power if we want to survive. Frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I definitely hear you. I gotta be honest, and maybe this is a foolish amount of optimism on my part.
Mm.
I think that once the party coalesces behind someone, it doesn't have to be Kamala Harris. It likely would be, but like, right now we're in such crazy times. It might be JB Pritzker, who would be like out of the likely candidates to be chosen as like a successor to Biden. Like I would like him the best, I think.
Yeah.
But like regardless, I think that once Democrats really come together around a single candidate, and I think it is going to have to be someone other than Biden, I think it's going to get a lot easier and a lot better, because the news story can shift from, oh man, the Democratic candidate is so decrepit and old. And by the way, so old, losing his mind, old. And like, it's gonna shift away from that being the news story, because that's been the news story for 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
That's
know.
an
It's kind of
eternity in media
frustrating.
years.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating and boring now too.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, once we do coalesce, I think that people are gonna fall in line. I think for the most part, libs are gonna fall in line, because I think most of the resistance to this idea of replacing Biden I've seen coming from more liberally minded folks, not so much from like the progressive wing or from the like socialist or communist wing, but like mostly from middle of the road folks. And I genuinely think that once like a campaign gets underway with like a Kamala or like a Pritzker or a Newsom or whatever, like I think people will come around on that idea, because the news story is instead going to be Donald Trump is crazy and insane and wants to take over the country. Like Project 2025 is currently trending on Google search more than like Taylor Swift. Like, that's crazy. People are really concerned, and I think that that's going to come through over any concerns they might have over a candidate, as long as that candidate can like make public appearances that aren't like damning and reigniting the conversation every like couple days,
What do you think happens if he doesn't bow out ever, period?
If he doesn't bow out ever, like, I'm still gonna roll up my sleeves and do my damnedest to get him elected, but I think that's gonna be a really, really tough run. I don't see him doing particularly well, and like if he does win, it's gonna be like by the skin of our teeth. Like, it's gonna be insanely close, and I don't know if my heart can take that amount of stress.
I don't think it can either, because we already know they're not going to accept the results. Period.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I have concerns about like if Biden wins, his ability to be able to maintain control in the face of like open Republican hostility. Like,
yeah,
I guess I have faith in like maybe the people around him, like his national security cabinet and whatnot, to like have some kind of plan to keep DC from being taken over by fascists, but like it's still not. It's still so far from ideal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Dems have already handed Trump the win, to be honest with you.
I mean, you could
I
be
don't.
right. I hope you're not, but you could be
I
right.
hope I'm not too. I mean, obviously, obviously my experiences here in Ohio, in the county that I'm in, is obviously a very small, tiny piece of the pie. But what I see when I'm going to events with hundreds, if not thousands, of people,
Yeah.
and talking to hundreds, if not thousands, of people, trying to get them to vote, um, especially marginalized communities, and trying to get them excited. They're not. They're
Yeah.
just not excited.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think there are any exciting candidates this time around. You know, we don't have like a Bernie, though. I will say, like, if it does go to like a brokered convention or like the delegates get freed up, like we're officially in like anything can happen. I have no idea. AOC for president? Maybe, I don't know. Like
I'd vote for AOC.
I think honestly, of all the candidates that are currently on the field, I think like, and you know, she's not even really considered a candidate, but like, I think she could win. Frankly,
I think she could win too. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, yeah, that's just sort of it. It's just trying to paint a very small picture, obviously, of the ground game here. That it's
bleak.
it's rough.
Yeah.
It's bleak. Yeah, it's very, very, very bleak. We're doing the best we can to, but we've, our opponent's got a 500 give or take vote lead, type situation, and is the incumbent, and is running on hardline anti-trans and anti-abortion and all that kind of stuff, and then trying to fight all of that with what we've got and trying to get people to get out is just, it's hard. So that's what I brought up yesterday. I want to talk about is like he's screwing the down ballot races, the local races.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the amount of fuckery, for lack of a better word, that's happening is immense. Like if people aren't usually following politics, like we do, but like if people aren't usually following politics, we're in crazy town. Like this is like self-destruction of a political party on a level we haven't seen in a long time, if ever, frankly. So like it's
giving the Republicans everything they want.
It really is. I mean, Donald Trump was on Truth Social today attacking George Clooney on behalf of Joe Biden because like they want Joe Biden to run. Like that their entire political strategy is about Trump versus Joe. Like we're in a time where right now the Republican candidate is trying to support the Democratic candidate because he's so old. Like we're in crazy times.
We are. I think we're kind of cooked, to be honest with you.
Maybe, but like we'll keep fighting the good fight until we're too cooked to fight. But
yep.
I'll give you.
I'm gonna keep answering the phone when Rose calls me and says, "Hey, I need your help." So it's whatever.
Exactly. Well, I'll give you the last word. Last thing you want to say.
Last word. Fidelity. Thanks. Love you, face. Thanks for the chat and stuff. And I will leave you with one piece of advice and wisdom for Elden Wing, and then I will go.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Ready?
Uh-huh.
Get good, scrub.
I felt it coming. I felt it coming through like the ether.
Bye, Jack.
Bye. You have a good one. I love Rain. I love Rain Cloud. One Piece? That was a great conversation. I love when people who are engaged in the political process call in. It's really fun. Folks, we've been going for about 2 hours now. And you know, we actually have have we gotten any subs or donos yet? I don't think we have. If you would like to support the channel, please consider dropping subs or donos. And I guess I'll just die in my video game because I was alt-tabbed. Consider dropping those subs and donos. Please consider hitting the follow button, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button, sharing the stream with your friends and family and pets. And folks, we are doing call-ins. I'm taking a little bit of a break between each one. We probably have time for like 2, maybe 3 more before the Biden press conference. I don't want to play it too close there. If you want to call in, you have to go into the Discord. You can get there via riverboat.gg/discord, or you can type !point in chat. !Discord in chat. And that'll get you a link to come on over. And once you're over there, head on over to the waiting room and post in the waiting room chat just hello, and then we'll figure out where you are in the order. Yeah, Biden's presser is in less than an hour, so we're going to be tuning into that. And folks, hope you're all having fun. How do I send the stream to my cats? You buy them little iPads. Little cat-sized iPads. The Lincoln Project put out a video about what a Trump presidency would look like if he's reelected. It's called Aftermath. You know what? Let's give that a quick watch.
Wow.
I don't like the Lincoln Project, but man, their media ops are really good.
Orange name bad OBWA.
Dragon Slayer, thank you for becoming a member over on the YouTube. And Methatiahu, thank you for getting a tier 2 sub, becoming one of the vaunted red names in chat. You are no longer a white name, nor an orange name. You are a red name. A strong, powerful name. Did you all hear about the Heritage Foundation hack by gay furry hackers? We did. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Let's see here. But I want to set this up so we can, I can show you this.
November 5th, 2024. Donald Trump defeats a divided and dispirited Democratic campaign.
God, I hope not.
On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Unfortunately, he keeps his promises. Trump seizes control of a divided government, signing hundreds of executive orders implementing Project 2025. Trump replaces over 50,000 civil servants with hardline MAGA loyalists. The federal oath of office now requires declaring loyalty to the president.
Oh, I guess Nightbot doesn't like when you post links in YouTube. Sorry about that. But if you come over to riverboat.gg, you can post all the links you'll want.
Not the Constitution. Protected by the Supreme Court's grant of total...
Yeah, the Heritage Foundation got hacked by a group of gay furries called SiegeSec. They're hacktivists and like cyber criminals. And it was kind of like their last hurrah. They hacked into the Heritage Foundation and like found a bunch of really interesting data, and then the head of the Heritage Foundation basically got into a back and forth with the leader of the hackers, which then the leader of the hackers posted, and like it's basically the CEO of the Heritage Foundation like telling this gay furry to go die of AIDS in a federal prison. It's very bizarre. It's so funny. And like the entire time, like she's just trolling him. It's so good. Gay furry hacker is just someone who drinks water. True. Speaking of, I need to get water after this video.
Immunity for official acts, Donald Trump orders the Department of Justice to arrest members of the January 6th Commission. Current and...
Is AOC old enough? Yes, she's going to be turning 35 before Election Day, or before Election Day, which I think makes her eligible to run.
Former DOJ employees and political opponents for treason, election interference, and conspiracy. He declares it to be an official act. Trump ends birthright citizenship by executive order and turns millions of
Oh yeah, by the way, did you guys hear about that? One of the like wet dreams of Project 2025 is ending birthright citizenship, i.e., no longer will you be a United States citizen if you are born here. Like, why is it their last hurrah? Because Siege Sec broke up right afterwards. They all mutually wanted to get out of like the hacktivist, hacker crime life. And so they decided to do one last hurrah job going after the Heritage Foundation.
American-born citizens into illegal aliens overnight. Mass deportations began. Hundreds of thousands, including legal U.S. residents and American citizens, are imprisoned in newly built camps. Protests erupt. Trump addresses the nation from the Oval Office, invoking the Insurrection Act and declaring the protesters a danger to American sovereignty.
Yep.
He orders the National Guard to use deadly force to suppress the protests. In the wake of the bloody violence, Trump declares nationwide martial law, awarding himself new powers under the freshly signed American Sovereignty Protection Order, which defines protest of immigration policies as non-protected speech and a
all of this is in Project 2025, I believe. Like this is they're just describing what the plan is.
threat to national security. Governors in New York, California, Illinois, and elsewhere.
Wait, how does one become a citizen in that scenario? You become a citizen through through military service. Generally, that's how that works. Military service, mandatory civil service, something like that.
Declare their opposition, promising to refuse compliance in their states. Trump orders their arrests. Trump pardons every January 6 attacker, including those who assaulted the police, and in a White House ceremony issues a new presidential medal honoring them. Many are
Sorry, I am completely thrown by this. Occupy Democrats is putting out, I don't need a press conference to know that my president can beat Trump. Hashtag stop the press conference? Yo, dog. Yo. He's not doing okay. If you're so unsure of his ability to perform that you don't want him to go out, like, I think you already have your answer here, dog. Is this a real Occupy Democrats like image, or is this like is this a meme? Are we falling for like a disinfo right now? They want a dead husk to be president? Yeah. Well, okay. Cool.
given jobs in his administration. The Department of Education is renamed the Department of American Values and mandates a nationwide Christian nationalist curriculum for all schools receiving federal aid. Trump, joined by Speaker Mike Johnson and evangelical leaders, announces that the Department of Health and Human Services has reclassified mifepristone, making it illegal to distribute or prescribe, as well as new HHS regulations that make IVF treatments impossible to legally administer. Trump reverses one campaign promise by declaring a national abortion ban by executive order. Challenges to his authority are rejected by the Supreme Court, which has seen new appointments from Trump after it was expanded to 12 justices. He signs an executive order removing abortion records from HIPAA privacy regulations and announces a new federal data sharing program so states can monitor women's periods. Thousands are detained while crossing state lines under suspicion of seeking an abortion. Trump's acting Secretary of Defense, a disgraced ex-general, fires over 400 generals and admirals, leaving the military leaderless. Other Trump...
Yep. Like, this is what Project 2025 is about. It's about chopping the heads off of all of the bureaucratic agencies and installing yes men. Oh yeah, Mr. Miyagi, part of the pro-life movement, there's an extremely radical sect of the pro-life movement that wants monitoring of periods in order to ensure no baby gets murdered, essentially. And the only way you can make sure that doesn't happen is if you monitor everyone's periods. That's their idea. It's insane, but that's the idea they have.
Appointees purge the ranks of the CIA, FBI, and Department of Justice. By executive order, Trump withdraws the United States from NATO and ends Pentagon cooperation with Ukraine. Russian tanks enter Kyiv. Vladimir Zelensky is killed. It is announced that Trump will run for a third term, claiming he was unfairly cheated in the 2020 election. His Supreme Court ultimately agrees with this interpretation, paving the way for Trump's 2028 re-election. If you hear all this and believe it isn't possible, then ask yourself, what did you believe was impossible just 8 years ago? This isn't a fantasy. It's Trump's plan, and he's counting on you to believe it couldn't happen.
Credit where credit's due, Lincoln Project. You did good. You did good on this one. Oh no, Occupy Democrats is like a real influencer group. They're just kind of like very nakedly they're very nakedly like a pro-Democrat group. Like that's the reason they're called Occupy Democrats. Like that, I've been familiar with them for many years. They're not like a new PSYOP org. They are a propaganda outfit, though. Just like a left-leaning propaganda outfit.